Hello and welcome to ScrewyLoops, and today we are kicking off a brand new series called A Beginner's Guide to Rollercoasters, teaching you everything you need to know about rollers that coast. I don't think that's quite the technical term for it. That's why we're running through the A to Z of geeky terms and elements and learning a thing or two on the way. So with that, you're watching ScrewyLoops and this is A to Z of geeky terms and elements part 1. A is for airtime. Airtime is a sensation of flying out your seat and one of many reasons enthusiasts giggle like a little girl. Often caused by steep drops or airtime hills, this sensation can vary depending on the apex of the hill or speed in which you travel through it. Floater airtime is usually created by larger, more drawn out hills taken at a moderate speed. This is a sustained form of airtime which can keep you out of your seat for a few seconds at a time. Ejector airtime, on the other hand, is the result of shorter, sharper apexes often taken at much greater speeds. Ejector is an intense pop of airtime which will really throw you out of your seat but is usually short-lived. B is for blackout. Haha, well that's a throwback. A blackout is a temporary loss of consciousness typically caused by a high level of sustained positive G-force. These high G moments are often found at the bottom of large drops or more commonly large helixes. This happens because your blood pressure reacts to these high G moments, and when not enough blood is reaching your brain then you just conk out. It may sound scary and dangerous, however this is a perfectly normal occurrence, but if you experience blackouts more often than you don't, then it may be worth checking out with the doctors. C is for Cobra Roll. The Cobra Roll is one of the most common inversions found on roller coasters today, which first appeared on Sea Serpent at Morey's Pier in 1984. The Cobra Roll is easily identifiable thanks to its, well, cobra head shaped resemblance. Even though many say Cobra Rolls are an inversion, theoretically they are classed as two inversions since you are fully inverted twice throughout the element. This can often cause confusion when counting total inversions on coasters, but just use roller coaster database, it's just easier. You initially enter a half loop, two back-to-back half corkscrews, and then exit once again through another half loop. These are normally used as an exciting way to switch back direction throughout a layout. D is for dive loop. Another inversion most commonly found on B&M coasters is the dive loop. The first dive loop was discovered on a Togo Ultra Twister coaster in Japan's World Food Festival back in 1988. This coaster was very short-lived, only lasting 4 months before being relocated to Rezutsu World in 1994. Dive loops typically begin by swooping upwards before twisting out into a half-loop style element. Riders often experience a short burst of weightlessness at the top before quite literally diving down the half loop into a generous serving of positive G's. These can be visually impressive, especially on larger B&M coasters, but equally a bucket load of fun. Have you experienced a dive loop yet? Let us know in the comments below. E is for ERT. Chances are you've probably heard this phrase thrown around a lot, whether it's in a vlog on the Alton Towers app or in a coaster group, and you're probably wondering, what does this ERT actually mean? ERT stands for exclusive ride time, but can also be known as ERS, which means exclusive ride sexiness? I don't actually know what that one is. Comment below if you do and I'll pin it to the top. ERT is a period set aside by a theme park to allow exclusive access to a particular ride, or in certain cases multiple rides. Attending an event created by an established roller coaster club, for example Coaster Force, will usually have some sort of ERT planned, but parks also do this for annual pass holders or even if you're staying on site. So look out for that magic word, ERT. F is for friction. Friction is naturally the resistance to motion of one object moving relative to another. Think back to the time you were at the school disco dance floor showing off your skid moves whilst jamming out to S Club 7. You're flying about the dance floor at blistering speeds, while some other kid can barely skid 1 inch. Why? That's because that dumb kid is rocking his favourite Rockport shoes whilst you're skidding away in your blessed cotton socks. Friction. And those Rockport shoes are the equivalent to putting square wheels on a roller coaster train. It simply isn't going to move just like that kid. Most roller coasters are powered by gravity, and everything from the materials of the wheels and structure of the track determines how much friction is at play. Think of it like a balancing act. Not enough friction will make the train fly far too fast, and too much won't make it move at all. And of course, things such as brakes and launches also manipulate the amount of friction acting on a coaster too. G is for GForce. No, not that operatic power pop group from the first series of X Factor. I'm talking about GForce, a true force of nature, a force to be reckoned with, and just forcefully fantastic. You get the gist. GForce stands for gravitational force, effectively the force of gravity acting upon an object, or in this case the rider. As you are most likely sitting down on the sofa right now, you are currently pulling a whopping 1G, which is the default force reading of planet Earth's natural gravitation. If you are currently watching this video on a Hus Enterprise during its cycle, you are probably peaking at around 3G as you swoop down towards the Earth's surface. These are positive Gs, but you can also experience negative Gs and lateral Gs respectively. Negatives often happen during drops and airtime hurls, whereas laterals occur on launches or when you are forced sideways during tight turns. H is for Heartline Roll. Get an inline twist, wrap it in pastry and sell it at your local Greggs. No, it's not quite like that. There is rather a significant difference between an inline twist and a Heartline Roll. Picture it like this: with an inline twist the axis sits pretty much centered on the track itself, meaning you would travel through the inversion like this. These elements only really work on wing coasters, inverts and flying coasters, since it's extremely unnatural for a standard sit-down train to execute this. Instead, sit-down coasters opt for the Heartline Roll. The axis on these elements sits slap bang centered to, well, your heart, meaning you would travel through these inversions like this, giving it a more natural and visually pleasing execution. These elements hold something special to my heart. I love them so much. I is for This is officially the most difficult inversion to pronounce, whether you say it like Immelman, or Immelman. You need to go see a doctor. It doesn't really matter, because in the long run, we all know exactly what you're on about. This element actually has a lot of history, and it dates all the way back to the early 1900s. It was originally an aerial combat maneuver which was used after an attack on another aircraft to reposition the attacking aircraft for, let me catch my breath, another attack. The maneuver was named after a German World War I Eindecker fighter ace, Lieutenant Max Immelman, and the inversion follows the exact same path respectively. To keep this short and sweet, the Immelman is basically a reverse dive loop and is commonly found on many B&M coasters. J is for Junior Okay, I get it. This one is a bit of a cop-out, but I do think you guys could learn a thing or two from this. So the Junior Immelman is the natural biological son of the original Immelman inversion. My god, why is everything such a mouthful in this video? That was a pointless joke, so I kind of just wasted my time anyway. But like the name, the Junior Immelman follows a very similar shape to the standard Immelman, but instead of inverting 180 degrees, the banking veers more towards 90 degrees, which causes many arguments between enthusiasts deeming whether to class it as an inversion or not. In fact, let's cause an argument right now. Comment below if you believe Icon's Junior Immelman should be classed as an inversion. Fire away. K is for Kinetic Energy. Now we get in sciencey. There are two types of energy when a coaster is in motion, which are potential and kinetic energy. Potential energy is the energy an object has because of where it is in relation to other objects, whereas kinetic energy is what makes the objects actually move. On coasters, the potential energy comes from the likes of a moving lift hill chain. Potential energy is built by carrying the train higher and higher up a lift hill. Typically, the higher a coaster goes, the more potential energy will be created thanks to a larger drop following it. As most of you will know, the larger the drop, the faster you will go, and the more kinetic energy which will be produced as you travel down. When you go up again, kinetic energy switches back to potential energy and vice versa. Physics in a nutshell. L is for launches. I'm sure we've all played around with Hot Wheels in the past, especially those which launch the cars into an incredibly twisty layout, which can only be compared to one of those spaghetti bowl coasters from Premier Rides. Launches on coasters act in a very similar way to this, and there are multiple types of launches to send those trains flying. Most commonly today, many coasters opt for the LIM or LSM launch variants, linear induction motors and linear synchronous motor systems. Both use a form of electromagnetic propulsion to accelerate the trains. Hydraulic launch systems, on the other hand, utilise a latch car and a cable to propel the trains at a high rate of acceleration. These are becoming less and less common, with Formula Rossa being the last Intamin coaster to be built with one of these systems in 2010. Rarer types of launch systems on coasters these days consist of compressed air launches, friction wheels, flywheels, counterweights and traditional cable launches. M is for mid-course brake run. We all love those, don't we? Yeah. Something that may seem relatively unimportant but in actuality plays a vital role within a coaster's layout. Mid-course brake runs can be found on many coasters, usually on those with longer ride durations and those with multiple cars and trains. At first glance these don't appear to offer much more than a simple decrease in speed, but that is not the case. The biggest benefit of a mid-course brake run is an increase in efficiency. The more of these there are on a coaster, the more trains you can safely run at a single time, and obviously a much higher throughput in the long run. Take the Smiler for example. This coaster contains 2 mid-course brake runs in the layout, one after the short pre-ride section and the other just before the second lift hill. This enables 2 trains to simultaneously coast through the layout, whilst another loads up riders in the station and maybe hold one more sitting on the final brake run. Many thanks for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If we can get this video to 500 likes, I'll get cracking on part 2, which will be letters N to Z, if my memory serves me correct. If you did enjoy this video, please hit that like button, smash subscribe for more content like this, and give the bell a flick to keep all up to date. Top left is the latest video, bottom left is a random one, and make sure to hit that button on the right for the ride of your lives. You've been watching ScrewyLoops, draw a bit,